Welcome to the Trader, a Traitors podcast. I'm Matthew, a writer working in unscripted TV development, and this podcast recaps and analyses every episode of The Traitors, not just here in the UK, but in versions around the world. This season of the podcast has been dedicated to the Traitors UK Series 4. We've been going over the big events, the blow-ups, the grenades, the strange decisions, analysing the strategy, the tactics, the gameplay, or the tactics and strategy and gameplay that is missing at times, and we've been telling some lies along the way as well. I've been joined every episode by a new guest co-host, and for today we have a returning guest co-host. You may notice the pattern that happens every third episode. Who could it be? Let's find out. David, what a surprise, you're back with us. It's almost like we could have predicted you would be here. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I have had less to focus on. I'm only concentrating on Traitors UK right now. You're sort of jumping between Traitors UK and Traitors US.
Yes.
Are you managing not to mix it up?
No. There are definitely times where, you'd think with 3 episodes of Traitors UK per week, it would be easy to keep up. But what happens is I watch Traitors UK, and then I watch, first it was 3 episodes of Traitors US all at once, and then it's 2 episodes all at once. And then I go back to Traitors UK. I'm like, wait, who are these people again? There are certain people on Traitors US who were just overwhelming the senses, you might say. And so I just need to get them out of my system in order to get back to a different game here.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, some people who are just watching Traitors UK are also forgetting who some of the players are because they're not doing all that much. And for anyone who's listening, wondering why are they talking about Traitors US? I've not seen that. How can I see that? If you're in the UK, I don't have a definite answer for you, but last year it began airing on BBC right after the UK series finished. I think the night of the finale. The first 5 episodes of the US season dropped on iPlayer immediately. I don't think that will happen exactly the same way this time. Instead, they're going to move straight to Traitors Ireland on the night of the UK finale. But I'm pretty sure US will come around fairly quickly. There's never too much of a lag between them. So at some point in the next month or two, I am assuming Traitors US will appear on BBC iPlayer. And at that point, of course, you can come back to the Trader and you can listen to everything that I was on the first episode with David, but David has been taking it forward since then. So you've been covering, you've done the first 5 episodes at this point.
Yes.
So people can catch up. You can catch up.
Yes, and we encourage them to, of course. Now, there may be other ways to, find the Traitors US. I don't know. Much like there are ways that I watch the Traitors UK. It's all magic. It's magic.
It's all magic, and you can legally use a VPN and figure it out. I have managed to do it, and if you go on YouTube, how do I use a VPN? You'll find fairly simple instructions. Send me a message if you can't figure it out. I'll see if I can point you in the right direction. David, we've got a lot to talk about. We're moving into episode 9 today, and there's a new sort of twist in the game we're going to get to. We've got a few things to catch up on for episode 8 that listeners have come back on. Before any of that, we are going to initiate our podcast game, The Trader Traitor. We are putting Traitors viewers' claims to the test once more that they could very easily spot the Traitors' obvious lies and deceptions, so we are going to play our own game of lies and deceptions here on the podcast. The challenge for David and I for the rest of this episode is to tell a lie to one another. Our lie has to be a fabrication, a made-up fact. It could be huge, it could be tiny, it could be about the show, it could be about anything we feel like talking about. For example, I could lie to David and say that I have a Jack-in-the-Box sitting on the mantelpiece beside me in this room right now and just conveniently not show David. But that's a lie. I sadly don't have a Jack-in-the-Box. However,
I thought you didn't have a mantelpiece.
There actually is a mantelpiece here. Okay. Or is there? I couldn't lie about my thoughts and feelings and opinions. So I couldn't say I hated this mission when actually I quite liked this mission. So we're looking
And
for
this was
fake
something that
facts.
caused what's the word I'm looking for here?
Oh, a bit of contention online about.
Contention, yes, that when you did your live, that people were like, well, David's lie last time didn't count because it was something that he was doing. And it's like, no, it was still a factual matter that I
I
was
I
absolutely about to spoil you accidentally until you interrupted me. So it wasn't an opinion. It wasn't
no.
like that I what I think about spoiling you. It was that I was in fact going to spoil you. So just to clarify that for anyone who's been holding on to that for the last week.
And I think we can agree I was very gracious in my acceptance of
Yes.
that and I allowed
Yeah.
it to happen. So I
Oh
would like you
yes,
to
you
remember
allowed
that
it.
and keep it in mind and, have team spirit and potentially sacrifice yourself for the good of me if it comes to
I
it.
sacrificed myself the first week with I still thought it was a good lie, so I can't even say that. You just picked up on it.
Yeah. So we're looking for fake facts, false pieces of information, not fake thoughts and feelings. Listeners, see if you can spot anything, see if anything lights up your radar as we're chatting in this episode. And then in the listener Q&A episode next, we will try and catch one another out. David, are you ready to be very sneaky and devious and catch me out in some terrible way that people will complain about?
Always.
Okay. Our game begins right now. And it is almost time for us to dive into episode 9. Firstly, to return to a few episode 8 things, I was joined by Jane from the Traitors New Zealand on the last episode of the podcast. And we talked a little bit about, we had an email from Scott, and Scott had asked, why did Harriet think there were maybe even 5 traitors? Does that sometimes happen in international versions? We talked a bit about it. And I had a bit of info on YouTube from someone called Desiree, who's watching the US season. This is absolutely not a spoiler, what I'm about to say. But Desiree said that Jam Jam, one of the players, said this week, somewhere, maybe in an interview, that they were told there could be up to 5, which is what
Yeah,
I suggested that
I think
sometimes
we've
that
known that
happens.
for a long time that they've been told there would be between I can't
Three
remember
and
if it's two
five,
and
I
five or
think.
3 and 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So even though it never
even
happens, it's
yeah,
in their
even
mind.
then, Harriet, I mean,
That was
you
the
know what
least
I'm
of
gonna
Harriet's
say.
problems.
Yeah, she lost her damn mind.
Yes. That is the catchphrase of this entire season.
Yes.
Even quoted you, David, on the last
I
episode.
know. I know.
We also had a bit of chat about Harriet, and some listeners thought she'd done all of this as a publicity ploy. Jane and I were not so sure about that, but I had a message from Naomi on Instagram who added a little bit more information here.
Mhm.
Naomi said, "Hello, Matthew. Love your podcast. Just listening to the latest one. FYI, Harriet didn't apply for the Traitors. She was headhunted by producers because they wanted a crime writer in the cast, which is not surprising. That happens a lot. A lot of the
Yeah.
cast are sort of found through casting agents and so on, and the team have got different roles that they want in
Hmm.
mind. So there we go. Harriet was sort of sought out. There's an article about this in The Guardian that Naomi has linked me to. If I remember, I'll put it in the episode description. So even if she didn't plan her self-destruct or her meltdown, she wasn't necessarily aiming to get to the end of the show. She just needed to be a traitor hunter, solve a few crimes, get her name out there. She definitely will have been hoping for a sales boost, as Traitor's audience is a great market for her product, sure. She also would have been unlikely to be motivated by the prize money, as she's independently far wealthier than anyone who needs to win
Ha.
£100,000 in a competition. I mean, I don't know that. Many authors don't make very much money at all.
No. No.
Although Naomi has linked me to another article here. Maybe I haven't read the article, but maybe
Hmm.
that's got some info about how much Harriet sells. I'm not sure. And Naomi says, "Thanks so much for your very entertaining show."
Yeah.
So I don't deny that part of Harriet's reason for saying yep, I'll do it. Okay, sounds fun. Is she probably did think this is a great chance for me. I still don't think her exit was a plan of hers. I
No.
don't think she thought this will make great TV and it'll get everyone talking. So I'm gonna act like I've lost my damn mind, as David would
Yes.
say. So
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
think. I mean, I have seen some of those same arguments, and there's two things at work here. One, we're a strategy podcast. I mean, we talk about other things too, but we analyze the strategy.
Yeah.
And so if someone has poor strategy, we're going to call it out.
Yeah.
And I don't care, it's to some extent, why they were doing it. This comes up on the Traitors US all the time. Some people are like, oh, it's a piece of camp. Why are you analyzing it? Well, because it's a piece of camp in a strategy game.
Yeah.
And that's not going to stop me from pointing out these housewives. There's a lot of overlap there. Not in the personalities, perhaps, but a lot of the housewives, for people who don't watch US, the real housewives, they have far more money than they need from this show, and they get paid an appearance fee on top of it, which we saw Impact previously, and so they don't necessarily need the money, and a number of them have never seen the show before.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I've already seen some interviews this season where some players on US, without giving anything away, have said, no, I hadn't watched it before, but I sat down to watch it once I heard about it, or I was invited. So it's a similar situation, but that doesn't mean we're going to just give them a pass on poor strategic moves.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, the way Harriet acted just went beyond that. If she wanted to become popular, being a jerk to Roxy and Rachel is not the way to go about it.
Yeah.
If she wants to be the new Agatha Christie, I mean, obviously Agatha Christie didn't have a reality show to go on, but I can't imagine she would have gone on telling people to shut up and I don't want to talk to you, and storming away and acting like she was taking it very personally.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like you said, she named 5 different people. Well, that reminds me of the psychics, quote unquote, that we used to see every time, who would come on and they were, well, I'm going to come on and prove my psychic power. And what they proved was the lack of psychic power, and which may be one reason we don't have them anymore, because they realized, oh, I'm going to be shown to be a fraud if I come on this show. So if you want to demonstrate that you are this great traitor hunter, and then naming 5 names is not the way to do it. Does her mystery novels be like the detective at the end says, it is all 5 of you? and have people have the the lower level detective be like, you just named the whole room. What are you talking about? And then on top of it, I mentioned this to you, that they have forgotten about her already.
Yeah,
Both the players and the show have already forgotten about her. All of her shenanigans, all of her antics. And she's like, well, at least I helped the faithful. And they're ignoring everything she said. Yeah. They've literally skipped over her to go back to think about what Amanda said.
Yeah.
So
I think one person mentioned the name Harriet in this episode in passing. I don't even know what they said about her. So
right. So yeah, maybe she did it for for those sorts of reasons. Maybe she was just sick of being there. But it's not going to stop us from calling out, poor strategic behavior.
Yeah, I believe she came on the show, yes, for publicity. I do not believe she imploded for publicity. Something really cool happened there, David, when you held up your mug or your flask, that it became part of the background. That's very cool, actually.
Oh, I guess this is the same color as your cloaks in the background there. So it's funny because Zoom has this thing where it's like, tune your green screen.
Yeah.
And it's a very different color green there, but apparently anything green it picks up. So yes.
Yeah, that was a cool optical illusion.
Or I have an invisible mug.
Oh. Or it's your lie and you've got a magic mug and you've tricked me into thinking that it was part of the green screen.
Yes.
We'll have to find out. We are ready to get into episode 9 then. Oh, no.
Well, I do have
catch-up thoughts.
I do have some catch-up thoughts because...
Okay, go for it.
And you may have mentioned this, I'm not sure, but we learned in episode 8 that the faithful believe it's suspicious for James to take a shield and not tell anyone. And it's also suspicious for Sam to tell everyone he was taking a shield and take it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
either way,
You're
you're doomed.
damned. Yeah.
And
I
well,
yeah,
not
had the
doomed. I
same
guess
thought.
James is still there, but yes, you're damned if literally damned if you do, damned if you don't. And um, now, I, you know, James's real flaw was not in taking the shield; it was in telling them that he took the
Yes,
shield. You can't
exactly.
have a conscience when you do something like that. Just
Right.
take it, pocket it, and never say anything again.
That's exactly what I said. I
Yeah,
said, "Shut up, James. Don't
yeah.
tell them." So,
I
or
mean, you
take
know
it
how
and
it
tell them
goes.
immediately. But
The you know how it goes. The doctor has to tell the villain how everything's done. So that's why James did it. So
of course, yes, he's the Doctor. Uh, any other thoughts on the last couple of episodes since we've had 7 and 8?
I actually
Mostly
had written
Harriet's
down,
implosion.
yeah, mostly Harriet's implosion. I had made a prediction about who would be murdered. So I know that you
Oh,
obviously made one on the podcast. I didn't know if you were
yes.
going to mention it heading in. So
I will mention it as we get to break. Well, I'll mention it at the end of my little recap. But yes,
okay,
and then you can.
okay,
I mean, you could lie to me, of course. You could pretend that you made a prediction
yes.
about murder, but we'll find out in a moment. Here we
Someone
go
came to
then.
my someone came to my defense in the YouTube comments when
Oh,
you said or when you said on the podcast where you may be lying about what you said, and they said no, I've seen David on his Big Brother podcasts, which he makes predictions, and then so what I do for those is I write down the predictions because Big Brother moves quick
yeah,
and we don't do spoilers. So by the time we're doing the podcast, certain things have already happened. And so we write them down and then we give them as if we didn't know what had already happened on
yeah.
live feeds. And so they said, yes, David is honest because he's really terrible at those Big Brother predictions. So
Yes,
that's
I
one
did see
way to
that.
be defended, I suppose. So
Yeah, that gave me a good laugh.
yeah.
Uh, on we go then. This is episode 9 of the Traitors UK Series 4. So, of course, the main element of the recap is, even though it wasn't actually last episode, it was before that, Harriet lost her damn mind, and Rachel and Stephen gambled on their murder and got lucky, killing off Adam. Everyone became obsessed with James and his shield lie, as well as figuring out who knew Adam didn't have a shield, rather than even entertaining the idea that the traitors might just have taken a gamble. Sam took the one shield in the mission, which ended up shining even more attention on him, as you just mentioned, David, leading to his banishment. The traitors narrowed their murder victims down to Matt, Faraz, or Jesse in the turret. In the previous episode of the pod, Jane predicted Matt would go. I predicted Jesse would go. David, who did you think would go?
So because I wanted to, see if I could actually get a prediction right, I predicted on Blue Sky because I had nowhere else to predict it that Jesse would go. It just seemed
Hey.
so obvious, and I was like, well, yes, it would clearly point to Steven, but almost too clearly, and it
Right.
strings Matt along. So,
Yeah.
that's the reason that I made that prediction, which at the time I was like, oh, it's so obvious. That means the edit is leading us astray, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not going to overthink this. So,
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I felt like it was the obvious choice,
yeah,
but they were trying to throw in Matt and Faraz and have a
yeah,
to make us think, oh, maybe they'll go wild and do it. But nah, I just thought if I was a traitor, I would do what Stephen said: self-preservation.
yes,
Even if people turn and look at me, that's less important than just getting rid of the person who is coming for me. Uh,
yes. And
so I think that overrides it.
I do think that sometimes, I mean, you have two things at work here. Uh, One, I do think a lot of traders overthink it. Like, ah, that person's coming after me, but the people know they're coming after me, so we can't get rid of them. Okay, but if they're as forceful and as influential as Jesse is, just taking them out does help you.
Yeah,
It even if other people knew, it still helps you because you won't have that person relentlessly pushing. And if there was one thing about Jessie, she is relentless. She will keep bringing up the same theory
right.
until she's satisfied. And then, yes, it points obviously at him, but then you just go into the mode of, "Oh, well, I wouldn't be that stupid." It'll be interesting to see if this happens enough going forward that it kind of flips around to what was his name? Jeremiah, Jericho,
Oh,
Jer
Jericho.
something, Jericho, on Canada, where he said sometimes the obvious choice is the right choice.
Yeah,
And yeah, sometimes it is. And it'll be interesting, like in the next time, people, they tend to go up levels, and
hmm,
I wonder if this will take us to like the next round of the traders, people saying, like, well, yeah, it's obvious. It's almost too obvious, but we saw Steven.
yeah, exactly. And there's even it comes up throughout the episode. There is
Right.
even there's points where I've made notes thinking about. I wonder if this happened in the very first series, how people would respond differently,
Hmm.
all surrounding Stephen. The episode starts. I mean, very briefly, a little bit of the turret again. We just see Stephen looking as nervous as Stephen always looks, and then we move to breakfast. Roxy, James, and Jack arrive. Funnily enough, they have this conversation about salmon, and they're like, "Oh yes, we get the salmon. We're first." It's just a hilarious coincidence because this
Yes.
is not a spoiler, people. Absolutely not a spoiler. U.S. traders as well this week. They were also talking about the smoked salmon, and I heard
Yes.
you and Magic are talking about it.
Yeah, they're as obsessed with the locks as the US players are. And so it's funny what it tells me. And I think I heard someone, I almost said who it was. I think I heard someone in an interview from US mention that, yes, everybody goes for that because the rest of it is like a continental breakfast. There's
Yeah,
that, there's hard boiled eggs, and not much else. And so it just speaks to kind of the crappy nature of the breakfasts in the UK and US.
it's nuts. Like they're in Scotland. Come on, it's the home of. Not that I eat salmon, but give them more salmon. Come on. Like, why are you doing this to them?
It
Maybe
is
it's
so
deliberate.
weird that they don't replenish it. I mean, I understand they don't want to have anyone interacting with them, but
Yeah.
just have it magically appear or something.
Yeah,
People
dish
shouldn't
out
be.
some salmon. Come
It's
on.
kind of like you're being penalized for being someone who is up for consideration for banishment because all the people who not banishment for murder, all the people who are safe always come in first, whether they
Yeah.
had shields or whether, they were in the safe group, whatever. So if you're safe, you get salmon. It's like a
Yeah.
bonus.
Yeah. Maybe it's their secret. This is the real psychological weapon producers use. We'll mess with their minds through food. That's how we'll make them hate one another. So, Jack. Jack's in this group. He talks in his miv. He's saying he trusts Stephen, Jesse, and Jade more than anyone, and he's really dreading one of those three being murdered. Little does Jack know. I mean, yeah, I don't know what else to say about Jack. I've got a few things as we go.
Who?
Stephen, yeah, he's this guy. He's just showed up this episode. I don't know who he is. I didn't know we had late arrivals in this show. Stephen arrives in another outfit that's very out there. He's very stylish. He's with Jade. They're kind of matching a little, and he asks the others. They're speculating who's coming back, who's in danger. He asks the others, "Do you think Rachel could be in trouble?" I wonder if he's just putting out feelers to get a sense of how people are seeing her. And Roxy says, if they take out Rachel, we've lost a very strong faithful. I thought, oh, Roxy, you haven't got a clue. I fear that Roxy is the most clueless of the faithful. It's a close tie with Jack, but at least right after this, Jack admits, look, we're going to have to start looking at one another, even if we're very close to someone. And he follows up on it later. So I thought at least Jack seems to be taking that seriously. Whether he'll actually do anything about it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Rachel and Ellie arrive. Rachel is telling us again she feels guilty the more that time goes on. It's really tough to, keep getting rid of people and seeing the repercussions. And she knows that there will be drama to come today. We're down to waiting for the final two of three. It's either Matt, Jesse, or Faraz who are going. And James even says, if Matt doesn't come back, I'm going to eat that table. So Matthew is obviously high on several people's lists. Someone else
Yeah.
also says, oh, surely Matt's coming back. Knock, knock on the door. Faraz and Matthew walk in. Jesse's gone. I win. I've won the podcast.
Me
We can end
too.
now.
Well,
We've won. We're joint winners. Hooray.
yes.
And we flash back to the traitors agreeing that Jesse is the main problem for Stephen. She's always going to be an issue. They're just going to have to cut it off. They don't want people to they don't want it to pick up steam. They're running out of options. They can't all, and everybody likes Jesse. So, and we saw a little bit of James last night, sort of saying like, "No, don't give up, don't give up." Like he was maybe starting to suggest he would pay attention to her. And yeah, Stephen just says, "I'm just going to have to play up the idea that I've been framed. That's how we do this." Jessie receives her letter, and it's really frustrating that even she falls for the plot. She's like, "Oh man, maybe Stephen wasn't a traitor. He's going to get framed." And I'm like, "No, Jessie, you were right. He is a traitor, and that's why you're dead." Like,
Yeah, I can't wait for
luckily-
the reveal where she finds out, oh, I was right after all,
Oh,
and
I have watched the reveal.
Oh, okay.
On Uncloaked. It was great. Jessie reacts exactly how you think Jessie would react. Like, think of Jessie in every mission. She's like rolling around the floor, off the armchair. Her and Ellie are sitting there. Even before I'd seen it, and I don't always get to Uncloaked that quickly, but my sister sent me a message saying, Matthew, you must watch Uncloaked purely for Jessie. Like, so she's just like, oh my God, like going nuts. Like she's so happy it's Stephen. So she's vindicated. Back to breakfast. They're all devastated, especially James. James and Jessie were like best pals, and he instantly said, he's like, I know who did it. And I thought, oh, uh-oh. Is Stephen in trouble? Is that what James means? Ellie then immediately as well points out, well, Jessie was coming for Stephen. Is that what's going on here? And he instantly, Stephen jumps into self-defense. He just goes straight for well, it's so obvious what's happening. They're clearly pinning it on me. I wondered if Stephen was doing a bit too much too quickly. By the end of the episode, guess not.
Yeah,
Guess
the thing about this show is if you let a narrative start without you, it usually becomes a runaway train. So
yeah.
I can understand why he would want to jump in front of it and stop that train before it took off.
Yeah, yeah. Matt, though, thinks that this is maybe a good thing for him. This is his sign that recruitment is imminent. He even tells us, actually, and I watched the episode twice. I only noticed this the second time round. And he's Miv, he says, he's saying I could maybe, they said they would murder Jessie. That was the plan. Maybe I'm going to get recruited. And if I am, I'll throw a traitor under the bus. He's immediately telling us I'll be getting one of them out of there. So I thought, yes, Rachel and Stephen are correct to be worried about him. They made it pretty clear they are not going to recruit him. I'll be amazed now if they do.
Yeah, I was thinking this whole episode, well, most of this episode, that how it would end would be with them murdering Matthew. Now, we obviously wouldn't know that yet. And then, of course, they weren't allowed to murder, which is very annoying when, that it does, we'll get there, but it does help drag out the promise to Matt that, he just keeps thinking, I'm still on board, I'm still on board, I'm still on board. And
yeah. And it's funny because he's talked about saying, he's like, oh, I'm sort of half playing faithful, but I'm also keeping in mind that I might be about to become a traitor. But I wonder, is it not in his best interest to genuinely try and catch a traitor to force them to recruit? Like right now they've got the choice, but if he can, I know he doesn't know there's only two left, but actually I thought it's better for you to get one out now, Matthew, because then it's more likely they're going to have to choose you.
I'd been thinking the same thing, that, do that. But like you said, he doesn't know there's only two.
Yeah.
So.
And if there's more than two, they might get really annoyed with him for getting one of
Right.
them out, and that makes them
Yeah.
not like him anymore.
Yeah.
So Claudia arrives and does her usual chat, gives them their clue for the mission. In order to catch a traitor, you're going to have to think outside the box. And Rachel just goes, "Oh, Claudia." And, and then she says, "Right, I think I've got the next one, but I'm not telling anybody." So she says someone messed up last night, but
Yeah.
she's going to bring it to the round table. And in interview, she tells us, the viewer, she's just doing this as as a trap she's setting. She wants
Hmm.
to make everybody a bit nervous, see how they react, hope that somebody trips up. Actually, she doesn't have someone in mind at all. And she says it's self-preservation wrapped up in a Weibo, which was a nice little phrase. I I thought that was very clever of Rachel. Didn't realize how she was going to play it later. I was surprised at what ended up happening at the round table. So we'll get there. I thought that she was just. I'll wait. I'll save it. I'll save it for the round table. Okay. Off we go around the castle. James is just wandering around going, "Bastards!" Like he's just like, "Oh, they got my Jessie," and he walks into the kitchen to find Stephen. I think it's just the two of them, and Stephen's. I get you desperately claiming he's been framed, and if I had thought for a minute that James might be onto Stephen, that's cancelled out. James just goes, "Oh yeah, it's not you. Of course it's not you."
Yeah.
I thought, "Oh, James, you've fallen for it already." Outside, Ellie's really upset that Jessie's gone too. She doesn't know who she can trust. Jessie was sort of her number one that she wanted to talk to. So now her eye is on Stephen. She's wondering, is it the obvious? Was he a traitor? And he was just protecting himself. And Matthew says, yeah, Matthew totally led me the wrong direction here. He says, yeah, I've noticed that Stephen is the only person left who voted out both traitors correctly. So I thought Matthew was going to say, this is all a bit weird. Yeah, maybe it is. And then he takes a complete right turn. And then he just immediately says, yeah, so Stephen can't be a traitor. I mean, it's just too obvious. Like,
Well, and then Rachel,
Matthew.
I like what Rachel said to Ellie, where she said, would Stephen do the obvious? Rachel's like, oh, he wouldn't be that daft, would he?
Right,
So it's
right.
not, she's not, and she talked about this too, I believe. She's not defending him hard, but she's like, oh, come on, he wouldn't do that. Nobody would do that.
Yeah.
So it's a good way, to defend without appearing to defend.
Right, and that's what Fiona was so mad at her about. Kept saying, "You haven't been defending Stephen,"
Yeah.
and the answer is no. She is. She's just doing it in a far less obvious way than you did.
Right.
Fiona would just outright say, "No, it's
No.
not Stephen.
Nope,
I'm not
can't
even
be."
thinking about Stephen." Can't. Rachel is being much more subtle about it.
It's hard to believe Fiona wasn't subtle. I mean,
I know, crazy times. And then even after this, I thought, thank God for Ellie. If I'm on the side of the faithful, she does actually say, "Are we just rejecting the obvious?" And I thought, yes, Ellie, yes, you are. And this is where I started to think about what you mentioned a few minutes ago, David. I thought it's really fascinating. The game has reached the point now where the players are obviously all familiar with it. They've watched the show. They get how it works. That they just won't attack the obvious. They do think
right.
everything is a double bluff. Everything's a trick from the traitors. Everyone's been framed all the time. And this is where I thought, I bet if this was the first series and they'd never seen the show, they probably would just go with the obvious. They'd probably be
Right.
like, oh, the traitor killed someone that was accusing them. It must be
Right.
Stephen. Let's just vote for Stephen tonight.
Yeah.
But now they're so in it, they think everything's a trick. They are ignoring the obvious. So yeah, maybe eventually, like you said, it does come back round to just the most simple things, which is interesting. And that's what makes it really interesting to
Right.
watch the series progress.
Right. Which is why, to circle back to something we've talked about before, which is why they don't need to keep adding in twists every single season.
Yeah.
They don't have to try and, the players will do it themselves.
Right, exactly. Agreed. Jack talks to Stephen and Jade at this point, and again, he is saying he just might have no choice eventually. He's going to have to look towards the people he's close to, and he says, one of them, even maybe both of them are the traitors. He describes himself as potentially a faithful pawn who's been kept in, which is kind of true, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
He even almost looks like he's getting a bit upset when he's talking to them. He feels so bad that he's telling his two close friends, I might have to doubt you at some point. And again, I've said this before, Jack seems like a lovely, lovely guy, just quite bland. Just nothing really for TV purposes that's that entertaining. Sorry. Stephen and Jade then obviously try and comfort him, and Stephen saying, "Yeah, it's fine, I get it. Yeah, yeah, we're going to have to look at one another. I understand." And he tells us in his interview that he knows his only way to play the game now is to be ruthless, but he's still worried that what he did last night could have been a big mistake. It's like classic
At which
Stephen.
point, yeah, at which point I knew it wasn't. When he said
Yeah.
that, I was like, okay, red herring. It is. See, this is another thing about watching the UK and US side by side. And again, not a spoiler for US. It's the way people react. Like in the UK, they hang out as friends. They tell each other, I suspect you. And then they go to the round table and they duke it out, usually without getting personal. Usually. In the US, almost everything is a personal attack. Yes, there are a few cases of them saying to someone's face, I suspect you. But then it like gets all mean and nasty, and it's just such a different atmosphere. Now, part of that, admittedly, is due to a couple of different people, specifically in the US. But even without that, I just think there's this more. It's more polite in the UK. You're almost Canadian in your politeness. And just that they can hang out as friends and share these theories even about each other without screaming at each other down the
Right.
hallway.
Yeah.
So,
And obviously a big part of it is also the nature of the casting that the
right.
US it's reality stars, or it's people with egos who are well known for
Yes.
whatever reason, and some of them are actively on the show to get those viral moments and cause
Yeah.
drama and get the next TV gig. It'll be really, really fascinating to see the US civilian version when it finally
Yes, I was
comes
thinking the
around.
same thing.
Yeah. And I was surprised you mentioned this. We talked about this on the pod. The casting for the US civilian version is still open. I hadn't realized. I thought they were
I
getting
mean,
ready to film maybe, but says it's open till
let me
March.
refresh the screen. It's still there. It,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't it doesn't seem to let me see if there's a deadline for it.
I think
Closing
it says
date March
March.
10th.
Yeah.
March 10th.
So
So, yeah, and it specifically says, I brought this up on the US podcast this week. It specifically says we are looking for smart, strategic, everyday people.
yeah.
So, at least the casting notice claims they want people who are going to play the game. Now,
Mhm.
have they separately done what you mentioned about Harriet and found some non-celebs who will still cause drama? Maybe.
Mhm.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But at least the casting notice says they're looking for smart people.
Yeah.
So, US people who are listening, we know you're smart because you're listening to this podcast. So, go and apply.
Yeah, and I think last time we spoke on the pod, I thought, oh, that season will be on TV by the end of the year, and you said, oh, I'm not so sure. So yeah, now that I know the casting doesn't even close till March, depends when they film. If I don't know if they'll try and film at the same time as one of the UK ones.
I'm
Yeah,
wondering if
maybe it
they
would be.
will. Like if they film at the same time as the Celebrity
Hmm.
UK, they could do the back-to-back thing again.
Yeah,
And so that would make
which would
sense to me.
save money, and that's
Right.
why they do it. It's a bit more cost effective.
I
Yeah.
mean, they could do it. They could just keep the castle for a month, for 2 months. Do
Hmm.
back to back to back to back.
Yeah, yeah,
And so yes, it would save money. They, don't have to. I imagine when they're not there, the cameras come down. I imagine
yeah.
if someone goes to stay at Ardross Castle,
Ardros. Yeah,
that they don't normally have cameras in the hallway that you can
no.
see and things
Yeah,
like that. They obviously keep a hookup for them in the same spot because they're always in the same place when you see the
yeah.
shots. I actually saw a TikTok video of someone in, I guess it was the Scottish Parliament. I'm not sure. Did you see this video too?
No, but funnily
Okay.
enough, I thought you were going to say something else that I'll come back to. But
Okay.
I know the
Where
Scottish Parliament building pretty well. Yeah.
Okay, he was. I like I said, I think it was the Scottish Parliament where this member of Parliament was saying to the I don't know speaker, I guess, uh,
Yeah.
that just talking about the Traitors has brought people to see the beautiful Ardross Castle and the area surrounding it. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to know what this body is doing to encourage more filming in Scotland and bring those dollars here. Well, not dollars, pounds, whatever they are. Bring that money here. And and then the speaker, being a politician, said something politician-y. I don't
Yeah.
remember what he said.
Yeah, it probably was the Scottish Parliament building in Edinburgh. I've been in it a couple of times. I've been in the chamber. I don't know what you call it. It's an impressive building, a very expensive building. And I thought you were going to say I came across on TikTok. I guess my algorithm feeds me these things. Someone, not a celebrity as far as I know, just sort of a regular person, has visited the castle and they had taken pictures of themselves in the different rooms, saying, "Hey, it's the breakfast room, and look, it's the stairs, and it's so funny. It looks so different. The breakfast room is normally not a breakfast room at all. It's got
Right.
couches in it, and it's like sort of a lounge area. So it's. I would love to. Obviously, I would love to go and see it in person and see what it's like. But yeah, somebody's uploaded all these pictures of themselves and at the entrance, and there's another entrance that we never see, and yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Well,
But
one of the U.S. people who was interviewed, said that the roundtable room is kind of like a cathedral area.
yeah, it looks.
So,
I saw some shots of that as well. It does look like a
yeah,
really tall, this huge sort of expansive part
yeah.
of the building, whatever it is. Yeah. I do have another couple of notes about the building actually, but I'm going to come back to that later. It is relevant. So we are ready
It
to
is
head off to the
relevant
mission.
because it's your lie that you have to set up.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Uh, they are in the cars heading to the mission, and Roxy says one valuable thing about Stephen and
Ha!
Jesse. She says it could be the perfect setup, or there could be something in it. She will never question this anymore beyond this moment. I mean, she does question Stephen later and is unbelievably easily appeased.
Mhm.
Ellie in her car is talking about Stephen too and thinks Jessie was observant. She was good at picking up on things. Even Matthew says, "Yeah, I'm going to go for Jade tonight. If we get her and it's not her, Stephen's next on my list." So it seems at this point, oh, maybe there's a bit of heat bubbling up on Stephen. Of course, it then just evaporates. At the mission, it's a giant Jack in the Box. I think it's pretty cool. I haven't seen this before. It's no cabin in the woods seance, but it's cool. And Matthew, you know, they have these moments. They obviously tell the players in their mivs, right, can you just talk us through the mission? Tell us
Mhm.
what happened. And sometimes it's helpful. Like if you miss what Claudia describes, the players repeating it can be helpful just to clarify the rules. But sometimes it's so overboard. So they've obviously told them, tell us what you thought when you talk in present tense. Tell us what it was like when you saw the boxes. And there's Matthew saying, we say all these boxes and think, what the hell is going on? Like it's the most bland delivery ever. They're probably like, Matthew, tell us, it was really exciting.
See, I kind
So
of appreciate that a little bit after because on US Big Brother, first of all, they have like four different people repeat the rules, just in case you're an absolute clueless idiot and didn't hear them the first three times. And then on top of that, they yell in every so it's like this would have been something like Matthew would have been like, we got there and we saw these boxes and we had to get in them.
yeah, he's doing the UK cooled
Yeah.
down version. Yeah, maybe I should be thankful he's not screaming. What they have to do in this mission then is hide inside a box each. They'll have a pile of sort of placards with each player's name on them. Claudia, they'll get in, they'll close the lids. Claudia will ask questions about the traitors' opinions. So I thought, oh right, it's kind of like the chess mission from last year. The traitors must have chosen last night, but no, the traitors didn't choose last night. They'll choose now, in the middle of the task, by climbing out of the boxes and making the decision right here. If the players then individually match the name that the traitors chose, they'll add £250 each time. And they're setting it up to make us think, oh, what if the traitors might get caught? They might give
Yeah.
themselves away. That's not going to happen. Like, there's no
They
real
even
jeopardy.
they even added in like squeaky creaking noises when they get
Yeah,
out of their boxes. I'm like, no, I am quite sure that they oiled those hinges
yeah,
beforehand to make sure. It was just, yeah, it was just funny that they added that in there. And then of course camera shots inside the box of people like
yeah,
as if they hear something. It's like, no, they don't
exactly.
hear anything. They're listening. There is
They're
no way.
never going to give that away.
The only thing that would have happened is if one of them had like accidentally slammed the lid, like allowed it to slam, or had fallen while getting out, or had laughed or something, and someone
Right.
recognized a laugh, which that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so
Who would do that on one of these
I
shows?
I don't know. Like I said,
Yeah, it's yeah. They have tested these games. They've
right?
practiced it, made sure you can't see anything out of them, you can't hear anything. And they even have the big druid or whatever playing
Yeah,
the drum,
drumming.
walking around.
Yeah,
Stephen and Rachel are fine. They're not going to be caught.
right.
I'll run us through the questions, a little bit of chat if it's relevant, who they pick, who the players match up to. So the first question is, who do the traitors think is the most underestimated player? Stephen and Rachel climb out, and yeah, they've got Claudia going shh as if
Yeah,
there's any danger, and Jack listening intently. They basically decide in this mission they should get some right,
right.
add a bit of money to the pot, look like they're good players, but obviously they can't get every single one right. That would look really weird. So they're going to get some deliberately wrong, and they'll try and pick answers that seem sensible or seem like the traitors, whoever they are, would have a reason to pick that person. The result of this first one, who's most underestimated? Rachel and Stephen choose James. 4 players then match this, including Rachel and Stephen, so they deliberately get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel does notice that Ellie chose Jack, which seems a bit random, so she stores that, thinks it might be helpful later. I actually don't think she probably does mention it at the round table, but I don't think we see it.
I
But
think she does, but I'm
oh,
not
maybe she did.
100%.
Maybe she did. Either way, it's a little hint for
Yeah.
us. Maybe Rachel is going to question Ellie
Right.
tonight. Next question, who did the traitors think is the most valuable player to them? The traitors choose James. 5 players match this, including Stephen. Rachel deliberately chooses Matthew to get it wrong, and she's got a fake reason that she can use to justify it, and it's the fact that he's deliberately holding on to the information from the church confessional special task. Question 3, who do the traitors think doesn't deserve to make it to the final? The traitors choose Jack. 2 players match it, this time including Rachel. Stephen chooses Ellie. He can fake an answer for that and just say she's
Yeah.
quiet, she doesn't do much, which she's been accused of many times, not contributing enough.
Right.
Comes up a bit later. Question 4, who do the traitors think would make the best traitor? Of course, they could potentially put one of their own names down. I think for a minute they say, should we put Stephen? And Stephen's like, I don't think any of them are going to say that, so nah. They choose Faraz. I guess the idea is he seems like such a faithful. Wouldn't it be amazing if he actually was a traitor? 2 people match it, including Stephen. Rachel chooses Matthew. James does choose Rachel though, and he mentions this FBI training.
Yeah.
So she pays attention. She's like, oh, that's worrying. She says she's going to have to keep an eye on James. I wonder if that's a bit of that will link to another episode in future. Is she gonna?
I suspect not, but it's possible, I suppose. But yeah, the key here is Stephen got 3 out of 4 right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I felt like it was too many.
Yeah, I didn't keep total track, but I don't think anyone else got 3 out of 4 right.
No.
Especially in the last one, only 2 people, including Stephen, got it right.
Yeah, even
So,
some of the
yeah.
players in the car notice that.
Right.
Like it's Matthew, Ellie, and Faraz do say, "Oh yeah, he got 3 out of 4 right."
Yeah.
So it did maybe stand out a bit too much. At the end of it, Claudia tells them they've added £3,250 to the prize fund out of 9,000 possible, and she urges them to use what they've learned here. So yeah, they go back in the cars. James and Jack are firmly looking at Matthew as a traitor, with Stephen in the front seat grinning along.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Matthew's focused on Jade, mainly because she chose him as, well, one of his reasons is that she just chose him as a potential perfect traitor. And they notice Stephen getting so many right. Ellie even says, again, either Stephen's a traitor who's hiding amongst the right vote, or he's a faithful who's really on the money. So, as much as I do actually want Rachel and Stephen to win, I also want people to catch on. I'm like, come on, Ellie, you're almost there. Like, you've said it so many times now. They arrive back at the castle. Ellie talks to Matthew. She's going back and forth between Jade and Stephen, and mentions that Ross was very focused on Stephen before he was banished. And again, I thought, oh God, yeah, Ross, yeah, and you're his girlfriend, and go. And I sort of even forgot that Ross was very focused on Stephen. And of course, there's the whole Jesse situation that's making Ellie think it could be Stephen. There's a really funny moment. I only noticed it on my second viewing, which is why it's good for me to watch twice. Stephen and Roxy are walking down the corridor. They're walking from one room to another. And Roxy, she's got like a Northern England accent, and I'm not great at pinpointing exactly where that is. I don't know if it's like Leeds, Manchester. And she says, let's go to billiards room. And Stephen laughs and says, oh, it's like Judy was back in the room with us. Oh, that's so funny. And Roxy just goes, oh yeah. It's good. I can't wait till Stephen finds out and sees this moment and goes, oh my God, I even noticed you spoke the same way. In the room, it's the billiards room. They sit down and Roxy pulls the classic, David, I'm going to play our new sound effect.
Cliche, klaxon.
She says, why am I still here? I have to ask, why am I still here? What is it about me? And I think Jack does it this episode as well. And I do understand there's a bit of logic to that. Like, is there possibly a reason I haven't been murdered? Sometimes it's just the way it is. Sometimes there's only so many people that could be murdered.
Right.
Some of you will just be left behind. But it is quite funny that they so often get caught up on like, something must be special about me. And
there is. You're so not a threat that they just haven't cared about getting rid of you. They're not purposely keeping you. They're just ignoring you.
Yeah, they're just purposely not murdering you. So yeah, you're either here because, yes, you are accidentally close to a traitor, or you're just a bit clueless. And in which case, I might start to think, I'm still here. Maybe it's just because I'm terrible at the game. So maybe I should completely switch everything that I suspect and then try that, see if it works. But then that might get me murdered. No, I shouldn't do that. I should play dumb. So she shares her concern with Stephen that she's worried she's too close to him. And all he does is say, oh, I am a faith. I promise I'm not a traitor. That's you. It's not why you're here. She just seems to be like, okay. That's it.
I mean, a traitor obviously wouldn't lie. Come on.
Yeah, that's a faithful. It's just given the perfect faithful answer. There's nothing more to it. In the kitchen, Faraz is with Ellie, tells her that he might vote for her tonight, and she's getting really irritated with this accusation that she's not been speaking up enough. She thinks that she has been. She says, actually, I'm talking more often now, and does a bit of I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Yeah,
what do you want from me?
People were upset that I was too quiet early, and now they're upset that I'm speaking up more. It's like, yeah, but even she did a confessional way back early in the game saying, I know that I need to speak up more because people will, find it suspicious. And it's like, okay, but guess what? Now it's caught up to you.
Yeah, and remember that task, she was voted most bland, and at the time she was like, oh, maybe this is okay for me, but nah, she's bothered. She's obviously just, and she seems, again, a lovely person, really nice, really sweet. I watched her on Uncloaked, seems very clever, but just sort of quite a nice, placid person that maybe because you're not giving away an awful lot, it does make people think you you could be keeping a great secret here right now, and that's why you're like this. Uh,
I mean, to be voted most bland on this cast.
yeah, that's quite an insult almost.
Yeah.
Uh, so there's a moment where Rachel is here as well, and this is maybe a minute thing. Probably we could dismiss it, but I'm going to bring it up anyway in case I end up being right, and I can be smug about it. Rachel says to Farah, she's saying, "Oh, come on, we're all just getting wound up. It's at that point in the game, everybody's on edge." And then she looks to Faraz and says, "Well, not you." She's like, "You're just so chill. You're so laid back." And he just kind of laughs. He's like, "Yeah, this is me." And I did wonder, is she planting a little bit more of a seed against? Because yesterday we saw her kind of joking with him. Oh, hey, is it you getting rid of all the older people? Is that what's going on here? Ha
Oh
ha ha.
yeah.
And I wonder if now it's also just a bit like, oh yeah, you're never like, well, is she going to in the next episode or two go, Faraz, I was kind of kidding, but actually you are so chilled out. Why are you never nervous? I just wonder. I wonder
And
if
after I
it's a
said
little.
you were getting rid of all the older people, then Jesse was murdered, and so
Yeah, but you just yeah, that's a coincidence that you
yeah,
veered the other way.
yeah.
Uh, it's time for the round table, and the Mivs coming in that we get are Matt, Ellie, Jade, Stephen. Matt saying he's going to fight for his life until the traitors recruit him. Ellie says she promised Ross she'd do whatever she could to win. Jade thinks that she's been underestimated because she's young, and she's really mad that people just keep coming for her, and she thinks the traitors have been making everything as difficult as possible for her. And Stephen says he's either gonna go home or he's gonna make it through by the skin of his teeth. So one of these four people is in trouble, right?
Yeah.
And I still wondered, maybe Stephen is in trouble. Like, what's
He
we'll
should
talk
have
about it at
been.
the end, but he should have been. He should have been. Claudia comes in. Prize fund is £57,500, which is a lot of money. And this is also not a spoiler. It's the US Traitors right now is on like episode 5. They're already at like 100,000 and something dollars. And I know dollars are worth like a bit more than pounds. Not that much more. It's just so funny the disparity between the two.
I
So
I did mention that on the podcast, and Magiker, who was the guest, pointed out that there is a difference because the U.S. people get taxed on it,
yes, that's true.
and
That's true.
the Brits do not. So
Maybe that
even though
explains.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that explains it. I think it's because a discussion you and I have had
And
before
it's yeah,
about how it's a
BBC versus
BBC, so they can't give out
NBC.
right, and let's face it. There's a little bit of a spoiler for U.S. last season. If the prize money was even as it was such that it could be split multiple ways and no one really cared in previous seasons, then they really need the bigger prize money for the celebrity. But
Yeah,
even for the non-celebrity, it says up to $250,000. So they're keeping the prize money the same.
yeah,
I think it just in the U.S. for a major production, it needs to be a large
yeah,
looking number,
yeah, yeah,
and so
yeah.
yeah.
That makes sense. It's time for the discussion at the table then. Rachel says she's deliberately not starting first, so Ellie takes the chance, steps up, she focuses on Jade. Her reasons for suspecting Jade are Amanda and everything that Amanda had said before she left. And Ellie says she's always suspected Jade anyway, beyond Amanda. She thinks that Jade is defensive and less calm than a faithful should be. I don't. I think that's a great attack for someone like you're.
Yeah.
She says faithful would be more calm than this. I don't think a faithful being attacked would be calm. I
No.
think faithful would panic as well. And be defensive is no bad thing when people keep bringing up your name all the time. Of course, you've got to be defensive.
Right.
She then points to Matt's reasoning. She says, "Well, I want to come back to what Matthew said last night at the round table, that everyone who has ever voted for Jade has ended up gone one way or another." And it's a bit convoluted, but Ellie wonders, why Jade hasn't claimed that she's been framed and that's why this is happening. Which is so funny because it's exactly what is happening to Stephen today.
Right.
And Jade claps back saying, no, I have been saying that I've been framed. I've said this several times. And she thinks they need to look at who is putting her up for banishment now. She says there only are a few round tables left, so I wonder if now is the time the traitors will just get me out. So think about who's going to vote for me. She says she's looking at Matthew as well for focusing on her all the time. She's getting really frustrated. She's fed up. Since almost the first round table, someone has been attacking her, which I think is true. There's always been someone constantly coming back to Jade. Probably all stemming from Amanda saying, I took off my blindfold and you were opposite me and you looked nervous or something ridiculous like that.
Right.
James steps in then. He tells Matthew, it doesn't make sense sense that
before you get to there were a few other things that Jade said that I thought were interesting. That Jade says that Ellie deliberately put herself into position to frame Jade, so she throws it back at her, and that Jade said something like I think you mentioned this sort of that she's been framed all game long.
Yeah.
But does anyone really think that traitors have been framing someone for the whole game? No one plans that far ahead.
Yeah.
This is not a Sherlock Holmes novel. They are not Professor Moriarty. Like, okay, first I will get Holmes to walk into the first part of my trap, and then I will get him for the second part of my... I mean, no, it's... Nobody thinks that far ahead. Like, okay, we're going to meet in the turret, and Jade. Okay, we just met her, but we don't like her. We don't want her around. We're going to plan that in 7 days, we're going to banish her. It's part of our long-term plan. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. So, yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but that's very obvious. It's too elaborate.
Yeah.
James comes in next. He is attacking Matthew and says it doesn't make sense that Matthew chose him, James, as the most likely traitor today in the Jack in the Box mission. He says I'd be a terrible traitor. And I thought, yeah, you would. I mentioned this on the last episode of the pod. He couldn't even keep the fact that he took the shield secret for an hour, let alone keep the secret that he's a traitor all this time. Roxy jumps in and goes, yeah, but that's what a traitor would say.
Yeah, this drove me nuts because it's like, again, it's the whole thing of, well, if you respond, you're defensive. If you don't respond, well, then obviously you're a traitor. Come on, people.
Yeah, not everything could be the traitor thing. Like, you can't blame everything on that. And I also thought it was a good example of confirmation bias, which, funnily enough, comes up. Matthew mentions it in like 2 minutes. Roxy's been on James almost from the beginning. I can't even remember what her original reason was, but she's always suspected James, and I feel like she's kind of looked for evidence to support that ever since. Like the fact that he took the shield and lied about it. She was on it. She couldn't stop talking about it. Now he mentions this. I'd be a terrible traitor, and she's like, that makes me think you're a traitor. Yeah. I'd think that James just never win with Roxy. Yeah. Funnily enough, then Matthew comes in and he says, James, this is what you're doing is confirmation bias. They get caught up in an argument about lying and whether or not this James taking the shield was really, did it count as lying? Is that lying? Is that just not telling the truth? And they just go back and forth.
It was ridiculous. You've lied. No, I just didn't tell the whole truth. There's a reason, at least in the U.S., when you're sworn in like a court, you are, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? That covers everything there, because if you just say, do you swear not to lie? If they don't ask you, did you see who the murderer was, and you don't volunteer it, then you haven't lied. So no one came to James and said, did you take the shield? So
I mean, I
recall.
I actually thought James should have just cut instead of digging in deeper and arguing over semantics, he should have just said, yeah, I did lie, and then I admitted it very quickly after because I couldn't like. He
Yeah,
could have just said, "Yep, I lied because I'm a faithful and I didn't want to be murdered." That's it.
yeah,
Okay, like we all know that. Move on. I don't know.
right. I couldn't
Uh,
keep it. Even I hid the truth, and I could not hide the truth for more than an hour. This is why I am a terrible idea as a traitor.
yeah. Matthew then also points out something that I'm taking Matthew's word for it. I haven't gone back and checked, but he notes that James and Jack always vote the same way. And we know that Matthew has been keeping meticulous track, he says, of
Hmm.
who's voting for who every night. So he thinks that's very suspicious. It's dangerous if they are traitors working together. Roxy moves on and says that she needs to take her emotions out of the game. I thought, yes. She says she needs to look at the people closest to her. I thought, yes. But she's spoken to Stephen and it's okay. He said he's not a traitor.
Yeah.
No! Like, Roxy, come on. She
I know,
says,
I know. That was a hilarious set of lines. Like, I need to look at those close to me, except for Steven. You're fine. You know.
yeah, I asked Stephen and his answers felt honest and clear. So,
Yeah.
and Stephen's just like, thank you, Roxy.
Yeah.
And so that's it. He's cleared. Oh well, thanks. Detective Roxy solved it.
Yes.
So we move
I
on.
I asked the suspect if they did it. They said no, so we had to let him go.
Yeah, well, come on, guys. Here comes Rachel now. It's her moment. And she says, I told a white lie this morning and explains that she didn't really have someone in mind. She was just using it as a ruse to flush somebody out. This is what I said I would come back to. I don't think she was going to tell them that's what she was
Right.
doing. I thought she would just now come for someone and say, this is who I was thinking of this morning.
Yeah.
So I think it works. I think it works really well. I mean, no
Hmm.
one votes for her. She explains what she was trying to do, and then she noticed that after that, she felt like obviously she's lying about this whole thing. Ellie then seemed to be really keen to get close to her and spend time with her. And now at the round table, it's interesting that Ellie decided to speak up first, and that maybe was a traitor being desperate to defend themselves. Ellie, now I'll just take a moment to say, I now I don't think this cast of faithful are going to pick up on it, but if I was a observant faithful, might they not think that's really cunning of Rachel? Like that's quite strange behaviour that she did that. Like that makes me
It's her
like
FBI
that's really
training.
impressive. Like
It's
yeah,
her
she's
all her 4 months of FBI training.
like it's so funny that they've been attacking James and saying you lied about that one thing.
Yeah.
That means you're lying about everything. Rachel's just literally said, "I told you all a lie this morning,"
Yeah,
but
but it
they're
was a
not saying to
lie.
Rachel.
It was a lie in pursuit of the greater good.
Well, exactly. It's just so funny that no one goes. Rachel
Yeah.
lied and she was really good at it, and that was a really devious move. Does that suggest that she's really good at this sort of thing? Like no one's putting two together.
Nope.
So Ellie defends herself and she gets upset when she's talking and says, "Yeah, I was really upset about Jessie. She was who I was closest to. I just wanted to talk to someone. Rachel, I thought we were really close." And Rachel then is like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Don't get upset." Faraz comes in to accuse Ellie of actually being a hypocrite, and he says, "You accused Jade of being defensive, and that made you suspect her. But we talked in the kitchen today, and you were quite defensive when I accused you." And she sort of says, "I know I did, yeah, I snapped at you, sorry." There's something that wouldn't happen in US traitors. I snapped,
Yeah.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
And Faraz just goes, "No, it's fine. No, it's fine, you can do it, I'm not asked." That's not her accent at all, sorry Faraz.
Yeah.
He's just like, "I don't care." And
Yeah,
uh,
he's like it's the issue isn't apologizing, it's that you made the same accusation and did it, which he's right about that.
yeah, and Ellie and Jade just have a bit more back and forth.
Mhm.
And Ellie does acknowledge, she keeps saying, "Look, I know I might be wrong, but this is what I'm going with," right? Matthew keeps going at Jade. He talks about her being very guarded early on in the show, but she's warmed up since then, and he focuses on her voting for herself in the mission today. For I think the question was who doesn't deserve to make it to the final, and she picked herself. So he thinks, "Oh, that's you trying to make yourself look really innocent and
Mhm.
make us feel bad for you or something." And Jade starts getting upset as well. She says, "Yeah, I was guarded at the beginning. It was 22 new people. I was nervous." And she's saying, "Oh, she's embarrassed about crying." And she says, "I've never seen someone go through so many round tables with so much constant attention." I did think at this point Matt could have taken his foot off the gas a little bit, because she's crying now, and he just keeps going. He doesn't really give her a moment. He's just like, nah, Jade, you always fire back at whoever accuses you, and eventually she just kind of gets. She's like, "Oh, I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
do what you got to do." She's had enough. It's Claudia comes in to tell them it's time to vote, and there has been zero discussion of Stephen and
Yeah.
Jesse. I
At
mean,
least
maybe
that
there
we saw.
was,
At least
and
that
it
we
didn't
saw.
make the edit. So I cannot believe Stephen must also just be sitting there like, "I can't believe this. No one
Yeah.
is voting. This is amazing." I think Roxy pretty much cleared that for him. So yeah, Stephen is. No one is going to vote for Stephen now. Faraz begins. He votes for Ellie. Roxy, of course, votes for James. She's always voting for James. Stephen is next and goes for Ellie. That's probably smart. He's going with the numbers. I mean, Ellie or Jade probably seemed
Yeah.
like they had the most heat on them. Ellie then votes for Jade, as she said she would. Jack and James both do the same thing again. They both vote for Matthew, which just confirms Matthew's accusation. Matthew votes for Jade. That's not a surprise. It's a three-way tie. Jade, Ellie, and Matthew have two each, and there only are two votes left to go. Rachel is next and picks Ellie. So it
Now,
could be... Yeah.
I was going to say, this is the funny part. Yes, it's a tie. Who could it be? Yeah, but Jade is one of the people voting.
Yeah.
So
We know it
yeah.
could go to a tie, but then I realised,
Right.
Jade's next.
Yeah.
We know she's going to vote for Ellie. It's not really a surprise. So Ellie is banished. She stands for her speech. She says she's had the best time. Thank you. Hope I can see all of you when it's done. I have a confession I'd like to make. What? No, a confession? What does it mean? She says, I didn't come in here alone. They're all grabbing each other. What? And it's great because even the traitors genuinely get to be shocked by something.
Right.
And she says, I came in here with my boyfriend. Who could it be? Ross. Oh my God, it's Ross. And
it would have been funny if they had been like, "Who's Ross?"
Yeah. Ross. Oh, yeah, that guy. Ross from season 2. But don't worry, I was honest about what was important. I am. And I thought, please don't say that I have always been. She doesn't. She just says,
Yes.
I am a faithful. Thank you, Ellie. Off she goes. And James, it does like what he did last night. Blindingly obvious. 2 nights in a row. Like, he's just like, so obvious, as he's got the wrong name written down on his slate. Claudia comes back and, obviously chastises them for getting rid of another faithful, but reveals there's no murder tonight. Hooray! And to reward them for a tough day, she's throwing a dinner party. Hooray! But this is never what it seems. There's always a sting in the tail, as she describes it a bit later. And she leaves, but not before saying, you can have some cheese. There's a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
Off she goes. There's lots of hugging and comforting, especially Jade, who's really upset. She doesn't really want to speak to Matthew right now. Stephen tells us he cannot believe he didn't get a single vote. Neither can I. And Jade's very frustrated. She's at breaking point. She goes off on her own. But she talks about, she's very resilient, so at least it's taught her that. It's time for the dinner. There's a piper at the entrance to the castle. Just like every dinner time in Scotland, there's a rota, there's a bagpipe rota, and they get together. They chat about the hot goss, Ellie and Ross. Oh my goodness, can't believe it! And they realised, they were sitting on the train together. They arrived together in the first place, and they kind of all agree, let's not talk game. Let's just have a nice dinner while we can. And it's another example of what I talked about, I think, in episode 6 with you, David. We need the happy moments, right? We need a bit of warmth. We need the heartwarming side.
Yeah, I don't know that a lot of what's coming up I consider happy moments, but
well, some of it's quite sad and depressing. But I mean, we need the tender, the emotional moments. That's what the show's so good at here. Like we want to root for them. We want to get to know them a bit more beyond the game. And again, I think this season of Traitors US is utterly devoid of that heartwarming feel. Again, thanks to some specific players. So they chat about getting to know one another, and they all go round to talk about what they do with the prize fund. Faraz talks about taking his family to Mecca, and if there's money left over, he wants to buy a new car.
Well,
Jack,
the
oh yeah,
funniest
yeah,
part was Jack asking it, like as if he came up with it out of the blue. Hey, I
yeah,
think it would be cool if we went around the table in this totally unscripted moment to
yeah,
talk about what we would spend the money on.
of
Good job,
course.
Jack.
Yeah.
Good
I
job.
think someone even goes, "Oh, that's a good idea."
Yeah, yeah.
And so Jack himself talks about buying a house, and he's going to propose to his girlfriend. Tommy C on Instagram was sending me his thoughts throughout the episode and sent a message here saying, "Even Jack's plan for the money is boring."
Yeah.
Um, but fair enough, Jack.
Not if
You buy that house.
not if you're his girlfriend, although
Oh,
now
yes.
I mean, I can't imagine he wins. So by now she's sitting there watching at home going, God,
Yeah.
I could
One
have gotten
day.
engaged if only you
Yeah.
had won this damn game.
You'll have to go back on another game show, Jack.
Yeah.
And I did think it would be really funny at this moment if he said, if I win, I'm going to propose to my girlfriend. And my girlfriend is Roxy. Like,
Yeah.
and like, oh my God. Sadly, we don't get that. James is up next. He's got a big family, wants to take them on holiday. He said he needs to buy his eldest stepson a car. Jade, now Jade, oh God, it really gets emotional here. It's awful. She talks about her
Oh,
mum and
yeah.
her sibling died. Oh God, we didn't know this. It's really tough. And so she also wants to set up home on her own, and she talks a bit more about it in her miv, and talks about that's why she's a guarded person. She takes a while to let people in. She's been through a lot. And Stephen's getting upset as well. And Matthew is like, sorry, I made you cry. So it's a really tough one.
I mean,
Uh,
this does make me, and I know this is very cold and calculated, what I'm about to say. It
Not
does make
you,
me
David.
wonder. I know, not the guy in the trader's hood. That should she have found a way to bring this up sooner? Like she has been relentlessly, I won't say attacked, but relentlessly picked on for being so quiet, having trouble get. Should she have found a way? But I don't know how you casually bring up in conversation that your mother and
Right.
half sibling died. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it would be something good to bring up to explain. Well, that's just not my personality, etc. But I don't know
Yeah.
how you do it without making it look like you're using that to your advantage in the
Yeah.
game. So,
Yeah. I mean, maybe now the other players have got a new sense
right.
of her, and apart from this, just she was so emotional at the round table as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to get on a soapbox, and maybe I'm not the person to talk about this. I do think it's quite a female thing to accuse a woman of you're too cold, you're not warm enough, like you're not happy and smiley and gentle enough.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be as common to have them say that to one of the guys, like you're too
I
guarded.
mean,
So
without spoiling anything, at least one guy on US has been relentlessly accused of that.
yeah.
So,
It's just something that came to mind, and I wonder if other
right.
viewers thought of it. Before Stephen, there's also Rachel saying, God, it's so difficult hearing all of these stories and people's background, but she says, but I'm here for my family too.
Right.
I've got my own reasons, and I think viewers forget that it's really easy to say, oh, Rachel, and I've seen so many negative comments. Rachel's so conniving. Ah, she's horrible. I hope she doesn't win. And we've talked about it on the pod many times. Rachel just showed up to play this game like anyone else.
Right.
She was
Yeah,
chosen as a
people get
traitor. She's not really a traitorous evil person. She got given this role. She needs to try and win too. She's doing what she has to do to win. She's not
yeah.
a bad person.
Yeah, people get sucked into this, this fake world, and they take
Right.
it too seriously. It's like, and this is definitely not a spoiler because it was on all the promos. On the promos of the US thing, there were clips of Michael Rappaport yelling, "We're here to find dirty, rotten, stinking, traitors," or whatever they are. And it's like, they're just other people, Michael, and so it's, yeah, calm down. They're just other people.
Yeah, don't be a Michael. That's my
Yeah.
advice. Do not be a, if you
Always good advice.
if you're ever tempted to like assume the worst of the traitors,
Yeah.
watch that clip of the US trailer of Michael and remind yourself, I don't want to be that person. That can't be
Yeah.
me. I need to
Yeah.
calm down. Matt talks about I want to pay for a wedding. We knew this already. Told Claudia this when she interviewed them all in the first episode about wanting to be traitors. So yeah, he told us he's engaged, but it happened during COVID, so they didn't really ever get to have a wedding. Stephen gives us his life story.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not being mean, Stephen. We love you, but come on, Stephen, pick up the pace. Why do you want the money? Come on. Eventually, he don't come for me, please. He it's just made me laugh a little bit. And I absolutely empathize with what Stephen said. Like, the question was, what do you want the money for? And Stephen's like, well, I was born in the year 90.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Stephen. He basically wants to give money back to, he said his parents did everything they could to give them a great life, and
Right.
even though they didn't have a lot. So he wants to pay back the favor, which is very sweet. And there's a nice moment of Matt and his Mev saying that him and Stephen actually have a hell of a lot in common,
Hmm.
and he says that's really comforting in this environment. I do also wonder if that will blind Matthew a bit. If now actually he goes, oh God, yes, Stephen and me, we've got a lot.
Hmm.
Maybe I should spend more time getting to know him. Matthew, no, no, don't be blinded. Rachel then also talks about her mum being really ill. It's really heartbreaking, and talks about what she's been going through. And she just wants to take her mum on a holiday, basically. That's something that her mum wants to do. And I like, Jet2, give this woman a holiday. British Airways, get this family on a flight. Come on, like, someone put these people on a goddamn holiday. And Roxy then talks about being adopted when she was 6. Of course, we know there's a bit more to the story. And she says she was adopted by the most incredible woman who really encouraged her and
Cut
helped
to
her.
cut to a picture. Cut to her xed out
Judy
portrait there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, and I can't wait till they all find out
Right.
the secret there. So she wants to help repay her mum as well for all the great things that she's done for her. And then, knock, knock, it's Claudia. No, what's coming? Of course it's Claudia. She reveals there's going to be a new element. It's the ceremonial dagger. What? I
It, she
theorized about this.
stabs it right into that table, like boom. I have a dagger. It's upstairs. I should have brought it down. I don't. I'd be a little worried that I'd overemphasize and like stab my computer or stab my own table here. But yeah,
I'll
I
go
have
and grab a
I have a
kitchen
dagger.
knife and I'll recreate. Yes, very dramatic and reminded me of a little Traitors Canada moment, actually. And if you've seen other versions of the show, you
Hmm.
probably know what's coming. I didn't spot. I guessed that this is what might be coming.
Right.
I'm going to say, way back in episode 1 of this podcast with Lindsay, I said, there was a tiny split-second clip of a
Yes.
dagger. I wonder if that's the. And I was right. Hooray! So Claudia tells them whoever possesses this dagger has an extraordinary ability. A double vote at the next round table. And I was like, all right, okay, yep. The only thing is, it's up to the traitors who has it. That's more exciting. Yes, I want to see
Yeah.
this. This is cool. And we've got a listener question about
Hmm.
some elements of the dagger later.
At least
actually.
one. Yes.
Yes, few questions. She takes the dagger off with her, and it's it's really funny this moment. They're all like double vote, double vote, double vote. It's a double vote. Oh my, what is double? Like, they're all like mind blown by this double vote, and the chimes for midnight ring out. They all leave one by one. I wonder who decided the order that they go in. Like, is it a bit fishy that Rachel and Stephen are left alone sitting together? Like, well, and Matt was the one to go before them.
Yeah.
Will any of them go, why did they get left? I mean, I'm sure they won't, right? Because
I-
2 seconds
yeah.
later, Rachel leaves, but
Yeah, because I think that, they all get called in different orders each night. So I
yeah,
think that, yeah,
just a nice coincidence.
yeah.
And they give each other a little cheeky grin before
Hmm.
Rachel goes off. I said I was going to come back and say something else about the castle here. It's just on my mind. I just wanted to get it out. If you've ever watched US Traitors, which is obviously filmed in the same place. One of the
Right.
big differences is that in US Traitors, they
Yeah.
pretend that the cast all go upstairs and they sleep and they say night night, up the stairs they go. It's very Sound of Music. And in UK, they just tell us so. They go off to their
Hmm.
lodgings and they get in the Land Rovers one by one. But what I don't know what made me think of this. I was sort of playing it all out in my head. And I think you mentioned they still do use the upstairs in
Right.
UK between like the missions if they're in certain clothes that get all wet or dirty. We see them come back downstairs and they've changed their clothes. So they obviously have rooms upstairs they can use and they can change. And I reckon that in the UK one they just in terms of logistics, I reckon when the chime goes and producers say, okay,
Yep.
Rachel, say goodbye,
Hmm.
Jack, say goodbye, they probably do go upstairs as well, and they'll probably have individual rooms that they just go and sit in until a runner, a member of the crew will knock on the door and say, okay, Jack, time for you to get in the car. And at
Right.
that point, they have no idea who's left before them, what order they're all leaving in, and they'll just keep the traitors back to film their
Yeah,
toilet
I've
segments.
I've said that before. It makes no sense for the traders to leave and then to have the cars circle back again.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, someone posted, I saw this on social media, that someone posted and said, "Here is where they actually stay," uh, and showed a hotel. I don't remember what hotel it was, but they showed a picture of this. It's a name brand, and then there were a number of people responding for the U.S. saying, "Today I learned that they don't actually stay in the castle." And I'm like, "Oh, you know."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there was also like an interview, and this was a mid game, well, an early game interview. People did like a photo shoot, and they had, I think it was five of the players back. Don't quote me on that, but they did an interview last week, so before the fourth and fifth episodes, where some of the players that were there were talking about, yeah, like we get back from a mission, and producers are like, okay, you have 3 minutes, go upstairs and change. And, one of them was like a housewife, or maybe it was the drag race person or whatever, saying, 3 minutes? I can't get ready in 3 minutes. What are you talking about? So yes, they definitely have stuff upstairs where they can change, and I
Yeah.
mean it was pretty clear anyway, due to the fact that we'd see them come back in their mission clothes, and then poof, they're in regular clothes again.
Yeah.
So
I also, and I mean to sound snobby here or like really self-righteous, but at this point, 3 or 4 years into Traitors, when you see someone online going, hey, why why do the US contestants stay in the castle and the UK ones don't? I'm like, oh my
yeah,
God, stop talking about this. Or
yeah,
or someone's like, I just found out they don't stay in the castle. I'm like,
yeah.
come on, catch up.
I
But
mean, it's
yes,
possible there are new viewers.
yeah,
I
I know.
do
I'm
think
being
new
harsh.
people tune in according to, which is what Peacock wants. They bring on different people so that they get, oh, I see that my favorite housewife is on. I guess I'll
Yeah.
watch now and find out what it's about. So,
This is
yeah.
true. This is true. But before you post some crazy
Yes.
question on Facebook, go and look it up. Like, find out. Ask people
No,
on the internet. Anyway,
no. That's kind of like I mean, there are people in my TikTok comments. I will answer something twice, and someone else will comment in and ask the same question again. And I get tired of it. Sometimes I cut and paste. Sometimes I'm just like, I already answered that. Look in the previous comment. And
yeah.
I always forget to use it, but I have a saved image on my phone of Captain Picard from Star Trek Next Generation, and he has this look on his face, like and the text superimposed is, "I just answered that 3 comments ago," and so I should remember to use that more often. I have it on
Yeah.
my phone; it's really old, but I need to use it more often.
Luckily, I don't need to use that on our social media because our listeners are very insightful and clever and don't
Yes,
ask dumb
well,
questions.
and that's the thing about TikTok is you get everyone. So yes, I get people who don't follow me and come in and argue with me or ask questions that are ridiculous, and I'm just like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Just
Yeah.
stop. You're wrong.
I've also just remembered why I brought up the upstairs thing. It was simply to
Oh,
make the point as well that in US Traitors, when people say, why do they fake going up the stairs? I
Mhm.
realized they're actually not faking going up the stairs. I think that is the process. I think they do go up and are held in rooms
I
and
don't know,
then
because
are
there was the
so
time when your dippy member of parliament who was on the U.S. a couple seasons ago.
John Berko.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Because one
Oh
time he
yeah.
started to head for the door, and someone had to grab him and redirect him and remind him to go upstairs.
I mean, I
So,
think that's just him being.
well, yeah,
Maybe he thought they were off to a mission or something. I don't
yeah.
know. Oh, it's challenge time. Uh,
Uh,
so
but
it's
but also
yeah, yeah,
one interesting thing, and again, this is not strictly UK, but I'm sure it's the same. One of the people who has already been knocked out of the show did an interview and mentioned, "Hey, I," because we always see the clock chiming at midnight. And I think we've
yeah.
talked about this before, that it's not always midnight. But one thing that made them suspect something was different a particular night was they were like, huh, tonight seems to be going on a lot longer than usual nights. So I
Mm,
think something is afoot.
okay.
Whether it's, something weird is happening here. So yeah, it's not always midnight that they do it. And this can give a clue to the observant player.
Yes, I think I know what you may be talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, makes
Yes.
sense. We normally would go to the turret. Of course, tonight's a little bit different. Rachel and Stephen, we always get shots of them in slow motion with their lanterns walking through.
Yes.
And I realized there's a shot of them walking through the bar. And I was like, why are they in the bar? It's because they're going to the bookcase and they pull the book and it's the
And the
secret
book is
hidden.
Cloak and Dagger,
Yes,
which is appropriate
very
in this
clever.
case. Yes.
I do wonder how they stopped players from like investigating that little room themselves because they've seen on the
I
show
don't think
before.
they
There's a
did
secret
because
room there.
I will say, again, not a spoiler, in the US, a couple people
Yeah, they've already
do
gone
go to
in.
the secret room. And
Yeah.
we hadn't seen it until that point. They just wanted to go there and have a private conversation.
So Rachel and Stephen arrive in their secret magical hidden room, and it has all of the players' portraits laid out. And we actually don't see lot. I thought that we would see loads of discussion here. There's not actually that
No.
much. I mean, well, I'm sure we'll get more when we flash back to what the decision ends up
Right.
being. They briefly wonder, do we give it to ourselves? If we do, and we vote the same way, that's effectively three votes, and that might be at this point, that's probably enough to banish someone if we really want. I mean, I technically don't think it is, but if the other votes are all a bit
It
split,
isn't, but they're very this is I mean, just look at the votes this time. They're not a cohesive group.
yeah, yeah,
Especially since okay, these two people are always voting for James and or whatever. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, you've
yeah,
got
right,
two people who are always voting the same way against this one, and these people are
yes,
always voting for Jade, and so
yeah. So three probably would be if it continues in that
right,
fashion.
right,
Three for one person probably will be enough next time.
yeah.
We don't really see them discuss any other specific options. They don't run through every player.
Hmm.
I reckon there is. Well, we'll get to this. We have, like you said, we've got lots of listener questions about it. Rachel takes the dagger, and there's this sort of low angle shot as she plunges it into someone's picture, and the episode ends. David, we will talk more about this in the bonus listener Q&A episode right after this, but just for now to throw it out there, and maybe we can dig into more of a reasoning later, but
Hmm.
who do you predict they will choose for the double vote? Who's getting the
So
dagger?
I predict Rachel's going to keep it herself,
Oh, okay.
because she has zero suspicion on her right now.
Hmm.
And I think that she can play it off as obviously, well, eh, well, they trust me to something, but that makes no sense for the traders, I guess. So, I had posted this, again on social media, and someone came back and said, no, there's no way they're going to give it to Rachel. A lot of people I've seen predicting Jade, including this person, saying, no, they're going to give it to Jade because she already has suspicion on herself and she's not coming after Rachel or Steven.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to stick with Rachel because that's what I had already posted. I don't want to be one of those people who predicts two different things in two different places and then I can claim I'm right. Well, actually, I do want to be that person because then I can claim I'm right either way. But I know that a lot of the people on social media who follow me actually listen to the podcast, so they'd call me out on that. So I'm going to stick with it and say Rachel.
Right. I think it will be one of the people that Stephen is close to. So that could be Jade, Roxy, or Jack. I know that's three
Yeah.
people. I'll pick one in a moment. I think they'll pick one of them because they think they're not going to go. Stephen still could have heat on
Right.
him. So they want to pick someone that he's close to that they think won't
Yeah.
vote for him. Roxy was the main one who was like, I've spoken to Stephen, it's fine,
Right.
it's definitely not him. And she is, like I said, probably the most clueless of the faithful.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they just give it to her. Nudge it. She's going to go for James most likely. Maybe they just follow in line.
Yeah.
If they give it to Jack or James, they're kind of gunning for Matthew, but don't the traitors maybe just want to keep Matthew around and murder it? I'll go for Roxy. I think they'll give it to
Okay.
Roxy.
That's a good one too. I agree with that. So
Looking ahead, if it's possible, banishment. Who's going next? What do you
I
think?
think they're going to get well. You just said they want to keep Matthew around. I think
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I think they're going to banish him. I think that
okay.
enough people. I mean, you've got how many people? How many votes did he get? Two.
Two
Yeah, he
tonight. Yeah.
got Jack and James.
Yes.
So, I mean, maybe that's the way. Well, I don't think the traders would give it to Jack or James because that's too obvious a play against Matthew.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still going to stick to. I mean, this I hadn't posted anywhere, so I don't have to stick to it. I could change it now, but actually, I didn't have to stick to anything. I make up my own rules. But I still get the feeling Matt's going to be banished.
I'll probably go with that too
Yeah.
because I think Jack and James will continue to go for Matthew, especially with
Right.
James. Like, oh, you've done it again. It was so obvious it wasn't that person. So maybe
Right.
everyone else will be like, well, who do you think it is? All right, you think it's Matthew, fine. And after
Yeah.
tonight, Jade and Matthew had so much conflict.
Hmm.
Jade voted for Ellie. We know Ellie's a
Right.
faithful. I wonder if Jade just goes, well, it's Matthew that he was coming for me so
Right.
hard.
Right.
Yeah, I'll go for Matthew. And the traitors will be only too happy to go along with that, I guess.
Right.
We aren't totally finished with episode 9. That's what we're on. A few more things. David, do you have any, for now, final thoughts on the episode?
Yeah, I saw some people posting, and this was posted. I saw it before I realized I had to stop reading social media because the episode had aired. Because but all it said was this was an exciting episode. I really didn't think it was. If you're the person you're listening, and sorry to disagree with you, but no, I don't think I think it was the dullest of the three this week for sure.
Okay.
There was no Harriet to yell about. There was no Sam to make fun of. Just poor Jesse finally getting murdered, and poor Ellie finally getting banished. I mean, it was kind of run of the mill, the mission. They tried to make it dramatic, but it really wasn't that dramatic. The dinner party was just kind of a little depressing. So I yeah, I'm surprised we talked about it for this long. Before we came down here, I told my wife, this will be a short podcast. Of course, she always makes fun of me, and she says, you always say that, and then you're there all morning. But yeah, this was not the most exciting episode, so that's really all I have to say.
Okay. I can get on board with that. Sure. There was no Harriet. There was no Fiona. The cliffhanger is probably the least exciting of the three
Right.
we've had so far at the end of a 3 episode chunk.
Right.
I mean, I'm eager to see who they're going to give it to, but the dagger itself is not the most exciting twist, I don't think. We've got more to talk about because we do have all of our listener comments and questions and thoughts. So we're going to talk about it in the bonus Q&A episode right after this. And of course, David and I will be concluding the Trade Our Traitor, trying to uncover what we both lied about in this episode. maybe we've not even lied yet. Maybe we're going to use our last couple of valuable moments to lie. David, where can we find you online? What shows are you covering apart from Traitors UK?
You can find me online in Brazil because I forgot to give a. No, I'm just kidding. When you mention, I just randomly picked Brazil. I don't know why. So yeah, I didn't introduce myself at the beginning. People must have been
Oh,
wondering the
yes,
whole time.
sorry.
They've never seen me before. So but yes, I am all over social media and reality TV podcasting. I've been covering reality TV for over 25 years. I've been podcasting for over 10 years. Right now, I'm mostly here. Yes, I, uh, have just yesterday we recorded, me and Magiker recorded the Traders US podcast for episodes 4 and 5. And of course, I will be back every week now that they're just down to one episode a week, thankfully, for the US. So I will be here as long as that run continues. I will be back here for the finale of the UK. So everyone should watch for that. I mean, you should listen and watch the ones in between too. Don't get me wrong. But the finale also I will be here for, and I will be uh, constantly continuing to post videos on TikTok and YouTube. I am at David Bloomberg TV. Most of those videos are either about the Traders UK or the Traders US. And the Traders US videos include my mini why blank lost for each player who is murdered or banished.
Yes.
So of course I'll have several more of those coming, in the next few days. And I also have a few for Beast Games and looking ahead to Survivor 50, which, that's coming in a little over a month. So I will start to transition some of my coverage there for that. And you can find all my accounts at Linktree/David Bloomberg.
And as always, the link tree address for David is in the episode description, super easy to find, as well as all of the podcast links. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Trader Podcast, where you can keep up to date on the pod, the show, videos from me, mad clips that I decide to upload just because they make me laugh. I am going to be doing another Instagram Live this Sunday, the 17th of January at 7 p.m. UK time, because I did it last week and it was so much fun. I thought, hey, we should do this again. We can have a chat about the 3 episodes this week for UK. We'll stick to UK for now, I think. So don't worry about. I won't talk about the US season in case UK viewers aren't watching it just yet. So we'll talk about UK. You can ask me questions. We can have a chat. It'll be good fun. And you can send me any questions and thoughts on episode 9 or whatever you want that's happening so far that you think, I can't believe David and Matthew haven't spoken about this on the podcast yet. I must know their thoughts. You can do that on any of the social media platforms, or you can email me at thetradarpodcast@gmail.com. You can leave a voice note at memo.fm/thetradarpodcast, and we'll play it here on the podcast. As always, wherever you're listening or watching, really helpful to subscribe and follow and review and all of those lovely things. Thanks to everybody who's been doing that so far. You can support the podcast in a couple of ways. Help us keep it going by visiting thetradar.redbubble.com to acquire some lovely Tradar merch to show off how much you love the Traitors and the pod. Or you could visit the coffee.com page to chip in any amount you like without having to subscribe to anything. It's ko-fi.com/Matthew Keeley. And I have to say a big thank you to Liz. Liz donated sometime in the last 24 hours. And Liz says, hi Matthew, phew, I can't keep up with your pods. The episodes are coming so thick and fast. I look forward to your pods more than the episodes. That's a nice compliment, thank you. Thanks for the great content as always, Liz. P.S. Why don't you have handy thousands of subscribers already? Liz, that's a great question. We should have handy thousands of subscribers. I assured Liz that I'm manifesting them and they are on the way. So listeners, help make Liz's dream come true. Come on, do it for Liz. Thank you, Liz. Stay with us for our follow-up episode. We're going to address your questions and discussion points and conclude our Traitor game. Until then, laters, traders.
And stay traitorous.